Welcome to The Sensual Chef, the all-new cooking show all about holistic healing foods that ignite passion and confidence through self-care cooking. My name is Kielejael and I'm your sensual chef. So today I'm going to be making a really delicious plant-based chickpea omelet with both grounding and energizing vegetables. So one of the main things that I talk about in my online cooking coaching programs and in my business and with my clients is the concept of elemental nourishment, or what's called the 5 phases of food in traditional Eastern medicine. Now, elemental nourishment and traditional Eastern medicine have been around for thousands of years, and it is based on the theory and the idea that everything in the universe is related to one of the 5 elements. It's earth, metal, water, wood, and fire. This is such a cool theory because it relates to everything. The organs in the body, our feelings, how we eat, and foods. And I've separated all the ingredients here into each element, and I want to talk to you about it and show you what I mean. So let's start with the earth element foods, which is the largest category of foods. And so the earth element foods that we're going to be using today are chickpea flour, some flax meal, some dates that I've already soaked in water, and almond milk. Earth element foods are the largest category of foods, and they're really amazing because they help you feel grounded, they nourish your root chakra, and they slow acute symptoms in the body and neutralize toxins in the body. The water element food I'm using today are shiitake mushrooms. And water element foods, just like water, sort of give you a very calming, soothing effect on the body, and they help nourish your kidney and bladder. And most water element foods are either very dark or purple or blue in nature. So think seaweeds, mushrooms, white fish, wild rice, black sesame seeds, anything of that, even shellfish, and even, pork or eggs, they're all water element foods. Anything salty, but believe it or not, they have a very calming energy on the body. The wood element foods I'm using today are lemon, apple cider vinegar, an avocado, and parsley. So when you think of wood element foods, think of any kind of foods that are sour in flavor, and also think of really fast-growing plants that have really big green stalks and sprouts on them. Lastly, the fire element foods I'm using today are red bell pepper and tomato paste. When you think of fire energy foods, think of exactly that, red foods, or anything that is pretty bitter. And think of like any food that looks like a heart, really, and that are dry foods or hot foods. These actually reduce heat in your body and dry fluids, and also promote the feelings of joy and laughter, and really help with circulation and nourishing your small intestine and your vascular system. So the reason why I pull a lot of ingredients from all the different elements is to create balance in your dish. That's really the whole point. And what's even cooler is that depending on what you're feeling inside and emotionally, you can actually control your feelings and your emotions through food. It's actually really fascinating. So let's get started on the recipe. Don't forget, whenever you cook, you have to make sure you set yourself up for success. So have a bowl that you can put all of your trash items in. Make sure you have a clean, sturdy cutting board that is close to the countertop. You have your knife sharpened behind the cutting board right over here. And if you like, a pastry scraper to help get out all of the bits on your cutting board. It just makes life so much easier. And don't forget your measuring spoons as well. I'm gonna start on the chickpea batter, and it's so good when you're using chickpea flour because it has so much protein in it, and it's just a nice alternative flour that is gluten-free, it's plant-based. Again, it's delicious and it's my favorite. So I'm starting out with a ½ cup of chickpea flour. Just gonna dump that in the bowl like that. Then I'm gonna put about ¼ teaspoon of baking soda in there. Just get it all in there. Good. Then I have 1 tablespoon of flax meal. I like to add that in there for extra fiber. Now I'm gonna put in some spices, and this is really what's gonna give it that good kick. So I have a ¼ teaspoon of garlic powder. And then I have a ¼ teaspoon of cumin. And if you like more spices, put as much as you want. It really is good and delicious if you just make it the way you like it. And then I have a ¼ teaspoon of turmeric. And so this whole dish is not only plant-based, but it's also anti-inflammatory, which is amazing. And again, you can make this batter ahead of time and keep it in your fridge bring it out, shake it up, and put it right on the pan and just cook it. So I'm gonna now put in, this was apple cider vinegar, it's a tablespoon. And then I have 3/4 of a cup of almond milk. And just throw that in there. So I'm just gonna whisk this all together until it creates a nice batter. And then I'm gonna season it with black salt. And you probably never heard of black salt before, but black salt is a really delicious Himalayan mineral salt. Actually, it's Hawaiian, and it's really good because, believe it or not, it makes this taste a little bit like eggs, if you like the flavor of eggs. And you can absolutely use regular salt, but I like using a couple good pinches of black salt in there. So just mix this all up until it creates a really nice batter. And I'm just gonna let this sit for about 5 minutes as I get ready to cook it. So now I'm gonna start with the chickpea omelet, and the vegetables that I'm gonna put in the omelet are shiitake mushrooms, red bell pepper, and some onions, and I'm gonna top it with an avocado and some scallions and parsley. So let's get started on the shiitake mushrooms. Now I'm just gonna cut these into slices, and as you saw, I just took off the stem. I'm cutting them into about 1/4 of an inch thick, and I need about a cup's worth. So as I do this, I'm just gonna put them inside the cup. Shiitake mushrooms are really amazing because they have such great flavor. They're super calming, they're really nourishing for your kidney and your bladder. All right. Now I'm just gonna put those aside. Bell peppers are so good for you too. They have tons of vitamin C, and they're really delicious to add color and flavor inside your dish. So I'm gonna cut these up in just little strips. And by the way, you can absolutely prep this ahead of time if you want, especially if you're in a hurry in the morning. You can prep the batter, you can prep your vegetables, all of that you can do ahead of time. And that way you just put it all together and cook it. And now I'm going to cook off the vegetables. So I like to start with the mushrooms first because mushrooms have a good amount of water in it. And whenever you're going to cook with mushrooms, it's always good to make sure you start with them first. And so I'm just going to lay some mushrooms out, and I put about 1/2 tablespoon of olive oil in here. And you just want to make them sweat and get all of that moisture out of there. And that also brings out the flavor. What I like to do is just start out with a few mushrooms at a time and make sure they don't really touch each other, because the more they touch, the less they're gonna brown. So I like to do this in batches. So cooking to me is a really sensual process that is so nourishing for your body, and if you think about it, it's the one way that we actually heal ourselves. It's through food. And so getting used to cooking with your senses is so essential. Even listening to the sizzle of your food makes such a difference, and just observing. So as you can see, my mushrooms are shrinking and browning, so I'm gonna add in the rest of the mushroom. Now I'm gonna add in the onions, but I'm gonna put in a little bit more olive oil, and I'm gonna add in my onions to saute. And onions give off a lot of moisture as well, so I'm gonna add in just a little tiny pinch of salt because that helps bring out the moisture and the flavor in the onions. And then whisk this all together. In total, I'm going to saute the vegetables for probably 7 minutes or so. I don't want them to be too soggy at all because they're going to go inside the omelet, and I want all of my vegetables to still be a bit al dente and have a nice crunch to them and still have a lot of texture and flavor. Last thing, I'm going to add the bell peppers. Just whisk this around for a few minutes. I'm going to add some black pepper Now I'm gonna add in about half of the parsley that I just rough chopped, just for some color and some flavor. Then I'm gonna turn off my burner and put these aside. And now I'm gonna work on the batter. So the batter's been sitting now for 10 minutes, and I just want to zhuzh it up a little bit. It's actually thickened as it's been sitting, which you want it to thicken a little bit. So I have a cast iron pan going on a low-medium heat, and I love cooking on cast iron because it's such a great tool, and it actually adds iron into the food that you're eating, and it's such a great investment. So I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of olive oil, and then just make sure that it's around the entire surface of the pan. So now I'm going to pour my batter in. Oh, I love that sizzle. So this is enough to make about 2 omelets. So now I want to make sure that it's wide enough and just kind of roll it around a little bit and put it back on and just let it sit. You want to make sure that the sides around the omelet brown very easily, and then we're going to put the vegetables on top. So now I'm going to go ahead and just add my vegetables inside the omelet, just on one side. This looks so good. I'm so excited to eat this. I'm just gonna fold this over just like that, and I'm ready to plate. Just be careful when you plate this. Oh, that looks so pretty. Perfect. Now I'm gonna garnish it. Nice. So now I'm gonna take the ketchup and just drizzle it on top as best as possible. I love ketchup, and it's so good. The sweet taste of the ketchup mixed with the chickpeas, oh, delicious. Then I'm just gonna add some avocado on top, some more parsley, and some scallions that we chopped up. Eating breakfast is such an essential part of the day because your body expels the most energy in the morning, so you want to make sure that you give yourself a really nourishing breakfast with the right amount of protein, carbohydrate, and fat, and this plant-based recipe will do exactly that. And again, you can prepare all these ingredients ahead of time and just cook it the morning of, and it is so good. I can't wait to try this. Literally my favorite breakfast. It is so tasty. The sweetness of the ketchup and the vegetables with the chickpea, so savory, so good. This makes me really happy. Thank you so much for watching this episode, and I hope that you found this informational, educational, and really helpful. So if you want the recipe, check out the description below. Definitely like this video if you gave it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel. And check out my online cooking coaching program. I do them every single month, and it's really cool because you can be part of a community that cares about holistic healing and cooking as a sensual process, and it is awesome. Thanks so much, take care, and be well. Bye.